Arthur Schopenhauer, in his three-volume book, World as Will and an Idea, also translated as World as Will and Representation. This current copy is an abridged among the three volumes, abridged among the translation World as Will and Idea. In this book, what is stated is that it is indubitable, and we cannot deny the fact that everything we see is in relation to something else. We don't see a sun that we don't see a sun, we see an eye that sees a sun. So it just means that we are seeing the sun in relation to our perception, our sensory faculties. We are seeing the sun via our eyes and our senses, via all this stuff, and he states that the starting point of all philosophy should begin with this very indubitable fact that we can't go and talk about things like, objective or absolute things, because everything that we see is in relation to ourselves. Whether our minds produce it or what, everything we see is in relation to something else. We see an eye that sees a sun, is what he says, but that's meaning to say we're not seeing an eye. We are seeing the sun via the eye, and we are seeing everything we see in the world via our sensory faculties, and because of that, we are seeing everything in the world in relation to those exact sensory faculties. Excuse me. And what he concludes from that is that the world is idea. The world is, to the way to start in philosophizing about the world and figuring things out about the world is to start with this very indubitable fact that the world is idea, and that everything we see is in relation to something else, to the eye or the nose or the mouth or whatever. It's in relation to the faculties. And in this video, I just want to discuss whether it really is indubitable that the world really is idea. Is it really indubitable that? And he doesn't use the word indubitable, but that the word indubitable is something that I'm using. It really means just that it cannot be doubted that everything we see is in relation to ourselves, and that we have to start in philosophy from that very indubitable. We have to start from that very evidential point. So we cannot doubt this, and we must build up from that in our philosophy. I personally espouse the philosophy of phenomenology of Husserl and Heidegger. So I think that, and I'm also kind of on board with the logical positivists, empiricists. I mean, I personally think that we can't talk about things like, we can't talk about things like, I'm trying to say something without not taking into account things that are contemporary. I think that we can't talk about certain things. We can't talk about whether there's something more objective or absolute being behind this book, because what we see of the book is what we see of the book. What we see of the book is, this is what we see, and we can't really infer to anything beyond with relation to the book, other than what is given to us of the book itself. So Fichte states this, and Schopenhauer states this, and Kant does in a certain different ways. What we see of things, according to Schopenhauer, the way we see things is the way we see things, and we can't really talk about other things beyond that, because our starting point is the idealistic fact, as he states it. in the first book, the world is my idea. This is a truth which holds good for everything that lives and knows, that the only man can bring it into reflected abstract consciousness. If he really does this, philosophical discretion has involved in him. It then becomes clear to him and certain that he knows not a sun and not an earth, but only an eye that sees the sun and a hand that feels an earth. That the world which surrounds him exists only as an idea, that is, only in relation to something else, the one who conceives the idea, which is himself. That is one of the big paragraphs, which is the start of the first book, which is World as Will, first aspect. That's one of the first things he states, that the starting point of all philosophy has to be with this very fact, and nobody can deny it. Nobody can say no to the fact that we see a sun via ourselves, and we see and we feel an earth, or we feel a table via ourselves, and he says many things via this, but can we deny this? Can we go beyond? Can we start philosophy by going beyond what we sense via our faculties? And I would say no. I would say that Schopenhauer is correct, and that we can't deny that whenever I see something, I'm seeing it in relation to my sensory faculties. I can't deny that I'm seeing it through myself. I can't say no to that. And I think if I can't say no to that, then if I can't say no to that, then all philosophy must start from that. And the logical positivists thought this as well, by Carnap and Schlick. They had a foundationalist epistemology and philosophy of science where they tried to have sense data as their foundation of all knowledge, where sense data being a patch. If I have a black patch here of this, I see a certain black patch of a certain color, size, and shape. In this, I see cylindrical, black, and small. So it's just variations of that, where we have a language of talking about sense data, right? Where I can talk about what I see in sense data of this pen, or I can go to the thing language and just say pen, or I could say, or I could say in the language of the sense data, I could say long, cylindrical, black, small. It puts black on paper. It puts black on white things and on white long things and blah 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 blah. Or I could just say it's a pen. It writes things on paper. It's like that. The empiricists of Locke and Hume and Berkeley agreed with this thing basically also, that experience is the starting point, and the positivists did also, and I think that's a very indubitable thing. It's very indubitable, and it cannot be denied. You have to concede to it. And if you think that Mr. Arthur Schopenhauer is wrong, if you think that he's wrong in this, and you think that we can go outside of this, when I feel the earth, I'm feeling it through my hand, and I'm feeling it through myself, and thus the idea is the starting point of all philosophy. If you disagree with that, please comment either on the side or on the art below, depending on which device you have. Or if you have a question, or if you disagree or whatever, comment, and I'd love to discuss with you. And my Twitter will be around here somewhere. I should start putting it below. And thank you.